Welcome. This is Interfaith Community Sanctuary. You probably all knew that. This is the fourth Sunday of the month. Normally this is Reverend Karen Lindquist's service, but she is still not out of rehab. So we have our sister Nurah Grace with us today, and that's going to be fun, and she'll tell you all about that when we start. And let's see, let's start this off with inviting in the ancestors. Can I ask you to do that?
Thank you, Michael, and my name's Chris. Good morning to all assembled and all virtually. I'm taking this prayer to the ancestors from a site called theafromystic.com. So maybe if we could all just breathe together a moment. Think of our beloved ancestors and elders and all who've gone before, and even those of us who may be coming after. My uplifted ancestors, guides, fierce protectors, and skilled healers, please stand with us, be here now in the Interfaith Community Sanctuary. We are children of beloved parents and elders. Be with me in this moment and guide me along my road with a cool head and a clear mind. I am the root of your root, soil of your soil, bone of your bone, and blood of your blood. Not deaf to sincere cries, nor blind to our honest placations, keep the gifts of perfect health, wealth, and prosperity close so that we may honor and grow your legacy. I have not forgotten my commitment to our lineage, and I vow never to forget. I thank you. Be here now with us. I would also like to honor and acknowledge that this land, that Interfaith Community Sanctuary, this building that it sits on, was originally cared for and held sacred by Native peoples. The Coast Salish peoples traveled this land over many, many thousands of years, and specifically the Duwamish people. You may have heard of many different tribes. The Duwamish, though, for reasons unknown to me, have not been officially acknowledged by the U.S. government, and we pray that that does happen. If you'd like to learn more about that and their struggle, you can look at rentduwamish.org or go to their longhouse, which is off of Marginal Way down near Harbor Island. And in the past, I've invoked a prayer that Siswinkle Laurel Boucher, one of my teachers, one of our teachers here, and I'd like to do that again. What we do for that is to put our hands over our hearts. The way I envision this is we gather all that is human about us, all of our joys, all of our sorrows, all of our struggles, all of our expectations, all that makes us human, gathered together around our heart and our hand. And then we would raise it up to the heavens, offer it to Creator. As we offer it to Creator, he, she, it, they may offer it back to us in form of a gift. And we replace that to our hand to our hearts. As we're going to offer our hand up, we say the Salish word, or the Suchi word, aho. So if you'll join me in a deep breath again. Oh! Thank you. Blessed be.
So, one of the traditions we have here with every service is to begin with an offering to the Divine Feminine. So, let's do a chant to Tara. The Tara mantra is Om Tarde, Tutarde, Turde, Swaha. So let's just, please join me. Om Tarde, Tutarde, Turde, Swaha. 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 Thank you. See, we invoked you and you came. So I was about to introduce you.
Oh,
Not that you need an introduction, but here. You can do that.
Good morning, everyone. We have a very special person amidst our humble group who really doesn't need much of an introduction. Nurah Grace has been part of this community for, I guess, decades now, right? Or spiritually, maybe? Certainly for a very long time. And I think it's a treat to share in her wisdom and share in her perspective.
all right. I'm on?
You're on. You need to
Am I
hit
on?
that.
Am I on?
Yeah, yeah. Here, just sit back.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
So you can hear me okay? All right. Well, I was asked to come do this service, and I was very excited to do so. And I wrote up the little blurb, you know, kind of advertising it before I wrote the actual talk. So of course, you know, there's always a little mismatch. So it says, "Wild counsel, let go and find peace." And I'm thinking that maybe it should be called "Wild counsel, let go, see what happens." Because I can't guarantee peace. Maybe your pot will get stirred, but those of you who came in person, too late, you're already here. So wild counsel, I'm going to tell you a story about what wild counsel means to me. Several years ago, my street and my neighborhood got zoned for 4-story buildings. And of course, some of my neighbors sold out, and now there are 4-story buildings. Sometimes in a place where there used to be a single-family home, there are 8 tall buildings in its place. And my heart is grieving because I love the wilderness, And every week, sometimes 2 a week, a letter comes in the mail that says, we want to buy your house. And so I was like, Spirit of guidance, can I please move to the wilderness? And the answer was no. So I figured if the answer is no, I must be asked to do something here in Seattle. So I've been waiting a while for the pieces of that to come to me. And what has come is something that I am calling Wild Counsel. And this is the very first iteration of it. And I'm hoping to repeat it in different forms, but you'll kind of see what this is about. So I've been on a journey of doing all these amazing programs with organizations called Animas Valley Institute and School of Lost Borders and Power Path School of Shamanism, where we go away for 5 days, and there'll be a group of about 30 of us, and we'll be camping someplace like close to the Grand Tetons. And we sit around in a circle, and the guides will talk on a particular theme, and then they will give us a wild wander. They will give us a prompt and say, go take a walk and find a place where you feel like you're meeting the ancestors. Go take a walk. Find a place that feels like it's calling to you, like this, it could be your home. And just sit there a while. Find a place that feels like a portal. Find a place that feels like death. And you go on these wild wanders, and you talk to the trees, and you listen to the trees and the streams, and amazing things happen. Incredible things happen. One example is my friend Ben. During one of these wild wanders, he just felt called to stand up on this stump, spread his arms wide, and sing. And he was just like chanting or singing whatever was coming into his head. And he could see out of the corner of his eye that there was a hawk that was circling over here. And he couldn't look at it. He just kept singing and looking forward. And then the hawk disappeared. And then it appeared on the other side, and it was circling. And he just stood there and kept singing. And then the hawk came directly in front of him and then flew directly over his head. And this is a pretty common type of story. Not every wild wander is going to lead to these kind of amazing experiences. I myself had a really incredible experience on a vision quest, which is kind of like a 4-day wild wander with very little food. In my wild wander, I had this encounter with the moon. It was raining in the evening, and I looked up at the sky and I said, you know, I'd really like to have a moon ceremony. Now, I have no idea what I was talking about because I've never done a moon ceremony, but I knew it would come to me. As soon as I said I wanted to have a moon ceremony, a song came into my head. And this is what, you know, when I'm among various peoples who are close to the earth, they'd never say, I wrote a song. They will say, I caught a song. So when I expressed the desire to have a moon ceremony, a song came into my head. But it was raining, so I went to bed. But at 3 in the morning, the moon is beaming through my tent so brightly, and it's as though a flashlight is being shined right in my eyes. It was that bright. It's like, oh, I guess it's time for that moon ceremony. So it's a little chilly, so I put on my layers. There's a hill, a ridge that I had to climb up in the middle of the night, and I get up there, and I I sing my moon song. And it goes like this. A dance came along with it, which was lovely. I love the moon, and the moon loves me. I'm dancing in her light. I feel so free. I love the moon, and the moon loves me. I'm dancing in her light. I feel so free. Moonbeam, you make me loony. Moonbeam, you make me loony. So I'm up there on the ridge and I'm dancing and I'm looking at the beautiful full moon, and I had no idea until after the trip was over, but it was a super moon. So one of those times when the moon looks bigger because it's closer in its cycle to the earth. So just absolutely brilliant, and I'm out there dancing even though I'm starving and weak and just really feeling in it. And at some point I turn around in my dance and I notice that there's a really bright shadow on the ground. And part of my intention when I went out on my vision fast was to examine my shadow. So there I am, I'm dancing with my literal shadow. And at one point, the clouds came and obscured the moon somewhat. And in the opposite direction, over the far ridge over there, the sun is starting to come up. And so I'm in this place, I'm in this spot where suddenly I have no shadow. I had no shadow, which meant I was in a liminal space. I was in a liminal time. The light was coming equally from both directions. And it occurred to me that, wow, this is a wonderful place to be. But I can't do my work on earth with no shadow. I can't do my work from a liminal space. We need to visit the liminal space, but you can't do the work you were put here on this planet to do unless you have a shadow. So these incredible things happen whenever we're out on these wild wanders. And I would love to be able to send you all on a wild wander today, but that's the experimental part of today. I'm going to try a little experiment with having us do something kind of wild, but staying here. But let me talk about the counsel part of it. Counsel is very important medicine that this world really needs. You know, we have a hard time really listening deeply to each other. And counsel is an opportunity to really listen to each other. A quote from a friend, her name is Silver Moon. She says, "In counsel, we imbibe each other's medicine." It's important. It matters. So you sit in a circle in council, and there's a talking stick, which could be anything. Today I have a wooden dolphin. So you have a talking stick, and only the person with the talking stick is talking, and there is no, we're not invited there to advise anybody. It's counsel with a C-I-L at the end, not counsel with a S-E-L, counsel like I'm counseling you. We're not counseling each other. We're listening to each other. And it doesn't actually even matter if I understand what you're talking about. What matters is if I can feel what your heart is feeling right now. Often, there's also a shaker and a timer so that everybody gets an equal share of time, which also means that you have to be lean of expression. Don't need a lot of backstory. So the 4 agreements with counsel are, 1, the hardest one, be spontaneous. Don't plan what you are going to say. Let it totally come from the heart. Be lean of expression so that everyone has a chance to hear. Speak from the heart. Don't try to be the smartest one in the room, just whatever's there right now. And listen from the heart, because we're not there to give advice. So, we're going to try an experiment with a sitting wild wander. If I were to give you a prompt today because of fall, first let me open up the wild wander section by giving a tribute to the 4 directions. We pay tribute to the east, for the east is sunrise and springtime, time of new beginnings, time of opening the little buds. It's infancy in the human world. It's time of light. It's a time of inspiration. We pay tribute to the south, for the south is midday and summertime, time of childhood and exuberance and connecting with nature. If you're in a project, it's the time of the hard work, rapid growth of the plants. It's a time of perspiration. We pay tribute to the west, for the west is evening and fall. It's a time when the darkness is starting to come. It's a time for letting go, just as the leaves are letting go. The leaves let go even of their most beautiful leaves. It's also a time in the human world for gathering in. We gather the fruits of our labor. And many of the plants are sinking their energies down into the roots. It's going into the earth time. So whereas the east was light, the west is the coming of the dark, and the going in, east is the going up and out, and the west is going down and in. We pay tribute to the north, for the north is the cold and the winter. It's nighttime, it's midnight. It's the time of elderhood. We are of service in elderhood in a different way by being wisdom keepers. It's a time to curl up with your cup of tea and sit still. It's a time of meditation. So we now, so that closes the tribute to the directions. And we now are in the fall. This is the time of letting go. And, there's a part of the prophet, the Khalil Gibran poem book, when they say, speak to us of love. Part of what he says there is, as love is for your growth, it is also for your pruning. And I remember reading that and being very struck by it, because if you've ever pruned a rose bush, you will notice that sometimes the most perfect, beautiful branch is growing in the wrong direction. It's crossing all of the other branches, and you have to clip off that which is so gorgeous if you want to keep the growth going in the direction that you want. So we're in the fall and we're into letting go. So if I had time to give you a wander, I would say go talk to a tree and ask what it means to let go. But since I can't give you that prompt and let you wander for 2 hours, I thought I would try some poems. So, in a few minutes, we're going to gather for council where we each get a chance to speak. And you have a choice. You can either, like, in your heart, visit a tree and ask, what does it mean to let go? Or, I'm going to read 2 poems, and you can just take one line. You don't try to explain the poem. Just if one line grabs you, just say, this is what it evoked in me. So I've got a poem and a verse from the Bible, actually. So this is David White. It is a poem called Open. It is a small step to remember how life led to this moment's hesitation, how the door to the deeper world opens, letting the body fall at last towards the few griefs it can call its own. Oh yes, I know, our wings catch fire in that downward flight, and we come to earth afraid we can never fly again. But then we always knew heaven would be a desperate place. Everything you desired coming in one fearful moment to greet you. Your full presence only in rest, and the love that asks nothing. The rest where you lie down and are no longer found at all. And then Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, the first 4 lines. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven, a time to be born, and a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill, and a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up, a time to weep, and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance. And so we're going to close the, yeah. The, what, reread the Ecclesiastes or the, both? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. So David White, Open. It is a small step to remember how life led to this moment's hesitation, how the door to the deeper world opens, letting the body fall at last toward the few griefs it can call its own. Oh yes, I know, our wings catch fire in that downward flight, and we come to the earth afraid we can never fly again. But then we always knew heaven would be a desperate place. Everything you desired coming in one fearful moment to greet you. Your full presence only in rest, and the love that asks nothing. The rest where you lie down and are no longer found at all. Ecclesiastes. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. So we're going to close the live stream. Sorry you can't be with us for the council. And we're going to gather our chairs in closer.